Hello guys, and welcome to today's chemistry class for SS1. Today's topic will be elements, and we will be taking part 3 of this topic. Perspectives. At the end of this lesson, the student should be able to 1. Define an atom. 2. Differentiate between a proton, electron, and a neutron. 3. Understand the relationship between atoms and elements. But as a teaser before we go on, do you know that the word atom originated from the Greek word atomos? If you never knew, now you know. Atoms are the smallest part of an element which can take part in a chemical reaction. Or we can define an atom as the smallest part of an element that can still exist and possess the chemical properties of that element. An atom is the smallest constituent unit of ordinary matter that has the properties of a chemical element. Atoms are found to contain 3 types of particles: the protons, neutrons, and electrons. So, let's try and describe the atom. It consists of a centrally placed nucleus, which is surrounded by a cloud of electrons. The nucleus is made of protons and neutrons. The proton and neutron each have a mass of 1. The proton carries a positive charge, while the neutron has no charge. The electrons are very light and negatively charged and revolve around the nucleus in an orbital manner in order to neutralize the positive charge in the nucleus. The atom is electrically neutral because the number of electrons revolving around the nucleus is equal to the number of protons in the nucleus of the atom. So, take a look at this. On this table, you have the mass and the charge, then the protons, electrons, and neutrons. The proton has a mass of 1 and a positive charge. The electron has no mass with a negative charge, while the neutron has a mass of 1 with no charge. Let's now take a look at the relationship between an atom and an element. I'll give just quick and brief definitions. An element is a basic substance that all other things are composed of. Meanwhile, each individual element is made up of tiny particles called atoms. The atom is the smallest complete unit of an element. The atom is the smallest constituent unit of matter. Every atom is composed of a nucleus and 1 or more electrons, which revolves around it continuously. Once the atom is divided, it loses the properties of the element it represents. An element is a chemical substance consisting of atoms having the same number of protons in their nuclei. Don't forget, nuclei is the plural form of nucleus. Atoms and elements are related in that elements consist of one particular kind of atom, This means that the atom is the base unit of an element. For example, carbon is an element composed of atoms that have 6 protons, 6 electrons, and 6 neutrons. You can also have other elements that have different proportions or compositions of protons, electrons, and neutrons in them. Let's now take a look at electronic configuration. This is the arrangement of electrons around the nucleus of the atom. The electrons are arranged in the orbits known as shells. The electrons revolve around the centrally placed nucleus in these shells. There are 7 shells in all. These are denoted by symbols K, L, M, N, O, P, and Q. The nearest shell to the nucleus is the K shell. It has the lowest energy and contains the smallest number of electrons, which is 2. Please note, it cannot hold more than 2 electrons. So, let's try and calculate the maximum number of electrons that can be in the shell. To calculate the maximum number of electrons in a shell, the formula is 2n squared. That is, if n is the number of the energy level of the shell, when n is equal to 2 for shell 2, we are going to have 2 times 2 squared. That will give us 8 as the maximum number of electrons that can be in shell 2. The maximum number of electrons that can be in shell 3 would be 2 times 3 squared, where 3 is the number of the shell. That will give us 18. Therefore, the maximum number of electrons on the M shell is 18, etc. So, what is atomic number? Atomic number of an element is the number of protons in one atom of that element. It is the number of protons in the nucleus of an atom. Invariably, proton number is atomic number. Atomic number is proton number. Now, let's take a look at mass number. What is mass number? The mass number of an element is denoted by A, which is the sum of the protons and the neutrons in the element. For example, sodium has a mass number of 23. The number of protons is 11, while the number of neutrons is 12. The sum of 11 and 12 is 23. We can describe an atom of an element by writing its symbol together with its atomic number and mass number, using carbon as an example. You can see it on the screen there. The atomic number is always written as the subscript, while the mass number is always written as the superscript. Summary. In this lesson, we learned about the atom. We also learned about atomic and mass numbers. We learned about electronic configuration, and we also learned about the relationship between atoms and elements. It's now time for assessment. Let us see how far you have studied. Question 1. Which particle is positively charged and is found in the nucleus? A. Neutron. B. Electron. C. Shell. D. Proton. Question 2. Which two particles give the mass of an atom? A. Proton and electron. B. Electron and neutron. C. Neutron and proton. D. Only neutron. Question 3. The first shell carries a maximum of dash electrons. A. 2. B. 4. C. 6. D. 8. With this, we have come to the end of today's class. Thanks for watching and see you in the next lesson.